guys, welcome back to Transits and Tactics. And I'm so excited today. This is a really, really good energy we're experiencing right now. We have a transit in Human Design Gate 62, which is the gate of details, and it's grounded by the Earthen Gate of mysteries or inner truths. And oh my God, I am really sensing this combination. I actually don't have either of the gates in my chart, and maybe that's why this is really, really acutely kind of kicking me into action in the most positive way. So as 62, as the name suggests, the gate of details. So we tend to, go further into details or notice the details that were before a little bit unclear. I definitely find myself in terms of outlining stuff that I am so organized. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking at the sheet of paper, and I'm really good at, I'm a projector, like Anita, us projectors, we love creating systems. So usually I'm like, okay, let's outline this, or on the client calls. But for me, there was a couple of projects and I'm sitting down and it's just nothing comes out. I know it can, but it's just not coming out. But this transit, from the first day, I sensed this, ooh, I can do this. So I'm literally, guys, now using this, whatever it is, 6 days, to address everything that's been on the back burner, because everything has been digesting. But now it's a good time to see how can we look into these details, how we can organize themselves. I know sometimes also the backside, the reverse side of things is like we can get really bored with things, with mundane things. And so this is the energy that can push us into trying to make mundane and tedium a little bit more interesting, So if that's something that you feel you want to lean into, do, because, sometimes it can just activate some kind of weird creative side in you, whichever way it channels. And that is something that we're always looking for. We're just looking for a spark, that will take us out of the mundane and open up the creativity. So I think that this is such an amazing week for that. How are you feeling this energy of Gate 62, Anita?
Yeah, I love this as well because it's really about precision this week. It's about understanding that, in Gemini, it's saying don't use all, don't let the mind override everything. In Cancer, it's saying don't let the emotion override everything. And the combination, of course, is working to, there's a lot of good business ideas. But how do you fine tune to identify the business idea that's going to be lucrative for you? Because prosperity is like, a frequency of 101. And if you're 101.5 or 90 or 100.5, it's not 101 and you're not quite on track. So it can be very disillusioning for people or disenchanting because you're there. I know I'm there. I've got the right idea. But are you fine tuning it in a way that it's aligned with your inner decision strategy? Because this is what helps us decide what details are correct for us. So business idea is a good idea, but another simple one is coffee. There's all different brands of coffee, but which one actually energizes me? Yeah, exactly, right. And that I love, and that's actually good for me, rather the one that drains me. And so this information, this energy is a really beautiful way of understanding that there's a ton load of information out there.
I love
What
it.
resonates with you, and how do you express what resonates with you? Because when we can hide behind the detail, or we can the other side of that is we can make people and what they're saying wrong rather than establish a preference. So as a 5-1, this is perfect for me, probably for you too, because when we have the first line, we like our details, we like our information to be before we do anything or before we try something. And what can happen here is that our over preparation can actually squeeze out the joy or the
Oh,
energy
yes.
of inspiration, right? So 61, 62, 62 is the into the throat, which is how do I express? And 61 is what's true for me.
Oh, I
That's
love that. Yes.
inspiring, that's juicy, that's like my sweet spot, rather than adhering to other people's opinions, gate 17, and trying to make them work. And it becomes wooden, right? It becomes dead. So that's what I love about this week. And I found that, even with foods, with everything, but especially with business. And with marketing, think about it. You know, there's many ways to say something, but when you're in alignment, that's your prosperity magnet. And so being able to say it in that frequency or intuitively knowing what's correct. Now the information, the mind and the body are working together and they're co-creating rather than fighting each other and trying to be right or trying to who's right out there, who's right in here. Who cares who's right or wrong? It's what works for you and resonates with you and energizes you. So I think it's really cool.
Yes, it really is. And you know what? You mentioned line one. The way I see line one, and I think that a lot of people, with or without line one, sometimes misunderstand the interpretation. Line one is looking for information, but it doesn't mean that it knows everything. It's literally looking for the bottom line. It needs to get it. And for sometimes to get that one detail that puts everything, it's like a click that clicks everything into place. And now you get it. Now you can see that. And for that, it takes so much research. And that's why there's a lot of information and research we're doing. It's not like a classic traditional research at all, and I can see here how people, I always want to bust the myths, and maybe this is the one three. This is not right, right? We're looking for the bottom line. And so this week, it's true. Actually, in fact, I noticed that, the transit happened sometime midday where I am in the world. And in that day, I completely accidentally came across a really, really huge insight into a very, very important part of my life. That insight had a potential to be extremely triggering, and it was. It was very conflicting. And yet, this gate, the Earth Gate 61, it is the gate of mystery. It's the gate of inner truth. And so with that grounding, it really helped me to see through the triggering detail, through all the information I've received in such a short period of time, and actually select what was the inner truth for me. So I really loved what you said, Annita, about tuning in and seeing if it's yours or not, intuitively feeling. So while this potentially for anyone who is not, aware, and I'm not saying it in a very arrogant way, that, oh, I live in the human design experiment. I try, but I'm a human. But I'm so grateful for coming across human design, for the awareness that I've built over the years of trying to follow your intuition, how potentially a really explosive and really damaging situation didn't unfold simply because there is this thing. And this is the transit where you can find out more about who you are. That's also the detail. And this is the detail when it comes to business and marketing. Guys, business and marketing is not part that is separate from who you are. Especially when we're speaking here about business, we're reaching out to people who are soul-led, we're coaches, experts, people who are guides, essentially people who facilitate transformations, breakthroughs. This is the audience for us, right? So we're not talking about businesses with transactional mentality like corner shops, even though I think that when they're done from the heart, when they're done from the love of allowing people to a convenient way to live their lives, right? Things can be different, and there are business owners like that. But we're not talking about something that hasn't got this personal touch, right? With the personal touch, with the business, you really, really need to know who you are in this. What are you selling? Beyond obvious, what are you selling? Why are people investing in their time with you? Those are the fundamental questions. And this week, the truth can come out. Some little detail, some little aha moment, some little shift that makes you realize that it is you. It's not what you do. There is no competition because people want more access to you because you're the guide. It's you and no one else they trust that can help them take that next step. Right? So this is a very good time to journal, to think about, like, look into these details and trust yourself, trust that intuition, because you can find out a lot about yourself. And this is really, really cool. Like I remember last week on the transit, it was a good time to like go into check in with your coaches, check in with your mentors. I was on the fire in my client calls last week. Oh my God, I had so many amazing client calls. I could see how this guidance was coming out. But this time I'm learning so much more about myself, and it's really, really, truly empowering. Because when you find that right detail, when you learn something about yourself that opens up, the new path, you can take action. And this right now is a good time to take that inspired action too. It's
I
not just
totally
about
agree.
thinking. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
about organizing yourself and diving into that.
absolutely. So in your business, where you're trying to rationalize that you have to do things a certain way, and you're truly rationalizing, you're almost defensive about it. Stop right now and use this energy this week to discern. Hang on, I am trying to put a square peg into a round hole here with these details that I'm fixated on, focused on. I wonder how this can turn around so that it's a round peg I'm putting into a round hole, and that I'm actually in alignment with with the details that are going to support my prosperity. It's really, really cool because both these energies play together in that way. You either feel trapped in details that aren't working for you, or you're freed by the details that do. And they can, it's a tweak, it's literally fine tuning we're doing here. And once you know that to connect with your decision strategy is where the fine tuning brings it into alignment.
It's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
My experience, absolutely. Another interesting fact this week, because we have this gate of inner truth and or the gate of mystery, as it's called in some sources, it's so interesting because you can present your stuff in a more mysterious way, and this will be appealing to people. Talking about marketing and persuasion, and like if you anything you do, you can always add a little woo-woo vibe on it if you already don't have it in your actually what you offer. And I was even laughing when I was researching, this transit, and I came across this information. I was laughing to myself because I suddenly received like a wave of orders for my marketing blueprint by design, and I thought, okay, well, this is definitely the transit working. There's like, oh, mystical way. Let's find out what's aligned. And yes, it does help people, and it does give the detail that can empower. So it all worked. But you sometimes have to laugh at the synchronicity in life and how things are kind of happening this way. But also, it's very interesting. And I want to share because today we are recording this since the 15th of July. And in the last few years, this was a really, really amazing day. It actually was like an anniversary for me. The recent anniversary is 1 year since my book was published. And it was published and unexpectedly became a bestseller. And I can't believe it's been a year since. And then four years ago in 2020, on this day, I walked off the plane and came to this apartment where I'm living now, right? And started a new year in my life, which has been or had been a dream for me and my late husband, Les, to move out of Ireland. That was something that we always for 20 years dreamt of, and that dream came true in 2020. And then in 2021, on this day, I got my dog Baz. Now I have mixed feelings about that because he is a very willful, complicated doggo, but I love him dearly as well, and I'm sure that he's a little angel to come here and teach us some lessons. And he's getting better anyway, and I do love him. So, and it's interesting today because I feel so acutely how the inner truth, right, the detail, that is no longer an important day in my life today. Wow, this was a big aha moment because I was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, because I was trying to say, okay, what can we do? Shall we launch this? Shall we start a podcast? Shall we redo this last week when there were so many ideas, what to do? And then I said no, because when this transit came, it became very clear that the new era has started, which is it has, in my life, in my personal life, the new twist, and it's a completely different life room now. So this is no longer the date that needs to be celebrated. It could be, acknowledged, this past amazing landmarks in my life, professional, personal, but you don't need to hold on to this detail for the rest of your life. This was an amazing insight, and that's just to demonstrate how it works.
That is so, so true because things change, as you become more aligned, your needs change naturally. And so cancer is all about what are your needs? What are your needs today? I might really need coffee today. I mightn't care about it tomorrow. Or I might really feel inspired to do work today, but not necessarily tomorrow. So that's so true of this. Being able to be discerning enough or precise enough to understand that precision is always about fine tuning. What do I need today? What's important today? And it keeps us really realizing that the more you're aligned, every day is a special day.
Oh,
Every day has
wow.
potential to be inspired. And and that's what alignment is realizing it's not just this day, it's every day. And what's inspiring today? And how cool is that? As you say, the 15th is an amazing day. But what's fantastic? It's fantastic waking up and going, it's an amazing day today, and it
Oh,
might
it's
not.
so true. And by the
Yeah.
way, also just, when we have these, for example, these dates, like this day was so important. And then I felt like, okay, so 2020, we moved here, 2021, let's celebrate, let's get a dog. As I said, that was actually not incorrect, not correctly entered decision. Again, human design is just showing when you're initiating or when you are going with your gut. And I definitely was initiated. I remember, Les kind of pushed us into getting, like, we're getting the dog today. And he was a projector. He shouldn't have done this. We should have been invited into getting a dog in the right, if it was even meant to be. Anyway, and then the other years, 2022, I was thinking, oh, 2022, I don't remember what we did on this day. 23, okay, I wrote a book and I published it, and I know I fit it into that date. So it's about sometimes allowing every day, or maybe not having a special day just because of something in the past, and living really, like what I mentioned, like a new room sometimes in your life. That means something new is coming. There will be something else. Like, I had a marriage for 20 years, but it was only the last 4 years that this date became any kind of important date. So it's so, so interesting to allow yourself this flow through the life. But I think what these transits do, and this is what I'm learning, and this is what I'm acutely feeling ever since we started recording these transits and tactics videos, is every transit is here to teach you something. Yes, the energy can pass, and that whole vibe also, especially if you're really affected and it's not your natural energy, it passes with it, but you learn something. And that's something that you learn, you can bring forward into your life. That adds to your wisdom. And that's why it's so, so good to watch them, to follow us, guys, follow us. Yeah, subscribe to this channel if you're on YouTube, or follow our websites, and you have all the information. But this is where you get to learn something, and that something is uniquely yours. It's not
Mm.
even, it's not, might not be even anything specific we said here, but it's something that you intuitively sensed. That is what is that little golden nugget of wisdom for you to take forward. So I hope that we will see you in the other transits and tactics videos, and thank you guys for being with us today.